All right. This train is magical, but there's something quite magical about it. This Black History Month train takes us down a timeline. Let's look out the window and see where we're going first. Music, my favorite. Let's go. I better hold on to my seat. Oh, where are we? Is that music I hear? It is. Come on, let's see where we're going.
Raining fire over the ocean, another madman done struck again.
Whoa. Whoa. I know exactly where we are. So before we could even get started talking about Black history and the music of the history behind it, we of course have to go all the way back to where it started. The first Black enslaved people here in the United States actually brought with them a rich culture. Inside their minds, they remembered all of the details of the land before them, the music, the culture, the sounds, the instruments that they would use. They were not able to bring them here, but they were able to recreate those instruments in their own ways, using sticks, using their own bodies, and being able to recreate them with the things they could find here in America, which is quite fascinating. The enslaved Africans in the southern United States decided to do something that would probably be unexpected. They started to sing these songs. They would be working all day long in the fields, and it would be devastating. Some of these people would die from the conditions, and so they began to sing what are called spirituals. These spirituals were something of survival. They were a way to get through another shift, another day, another terrible day in the field.
See that band all dressed in white. Gods are gonna trouble the water. The leader looks like the Israelite. Gods are gonna trouble the water. Ooh, wade in the water. Oh, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God is gonna trouble. Gods are gonna trouble the water.
The most fascinating part about spirituals, it laid out the blueprint for many of the genres that we listen to today, including jazz, R&B, hip-hop, as well as country and more. In 1865, slavery was finally abolished in the United States, but life didn't change much for the African Americans living there. They faced harsh conditions. They couldn't find a lot of work, and they worked for very little pay. During this time, a new genre exploded. This genre was called the blues.
The blues are brewing.
In Mississippi, artists were heard singing these songs, these laments, and it had a different sound from the spirituals. The African Americans now wanted to express themselves without the shade of slavery.
Now here it is, 3 o'clock in the morning. Can't even close my eyes. In the morning, baby.
After the Civil War, the big bands that would play were selling their instruments left and right for cheap prices. These instruments fell in the hands of African Americans. These instruments would be shaped into amazing music that we now know as jazz. We cannot talk about Black music history without mentioning Motown Records. This recording company became one of the most successful Black businesses and also one of the most influential recording companies in history. Soul music became extremely popular, and also bands and groups were very popular at this time. Some of the most prominent artists in history came from this genre, including The Temptations, the Isley Brothers, Earth, Wind and Fire, and of course, One of the biggest, well-known prominent figures of all time came from this era, the Jackson 5, particularly Michael Jackson. We cannot begin to discuss Black history without discussing Michael Jackson and his legacy. Michael Jackson is known as the King of Pop. He reigned for his whole life on the musical charts until he passed away. When it comes to the history of Black music here, we can find the influences in the music today that we listen to. Next time you're listening to your radio, listen to the sounds. You'll hear trumpets, drums. You'll hear those influences from spirituals, the blues era, jazz, all the way to today's hip hop and R&B and today's pop hits.